Hello, guys, and welcome back. Today, we will talk about our first green day in, well, one of the trade recap. So, as you can see, I have made about 49 in the green after one red trade. So, basically, one loss and one win. So, this is our recording of the trade. So, right now, we are at what? We are at 27 minutes in. Sorry, not 27 minutes in, 7 minutes in. Sorry. So, let's bring it down to around, yeah, I think 15th minute. That is when the market will open and action starts. So this was our leading short stock of the day at the time. Market was just opening, so did not depend a lot on this, but yeah, it had fallen down by that point about I don't know, about three rupees, 3 to 4 rupees. It was not a whole lot, but it was the leading shorter of the day at the point. So here, as you can see, the stock was basically dumping. There was a recoil on 1 minute chart. So the net volume itself, as you can see here, it was going down. So I was more than happy enough to follow along. So as you guys can see, the stock was coming back up. The volume was also going back up. So at that point, I was not all that interested. All I was interested was in the ATR of the time, because I needed this to basically decide if I do enter what would be my position size, and that is what you can see me here. I am basically updating it to a position size that I can work with, and at the time that was 29, which was okay. And eventually when I came back, the ATR, the stock was becoming sorry, it was starting to go down on both 1 minute and 5 minute charts. The only thing which I was not liking was the volume part, but the good thing was, even though it was rising, it was negative. So at that point, I just took the trade. I thought, what the hell, looks good enough. And then based on my position of 24 shares, I did the calculation for the stop loss, and basically just one night earlier only, I actually created an Android app which, based on the ATR, will give you everything. It will give you the lower range and the upper range of the risk that you can take, and the position size you can take with those if you do fix the risk. And then once you have made an entry, so for example, you can see my entry was 264. So when I put this entry and my risk and ATR already has been filled, so at that point it would also tell me the stop loss position, and that is where I got the stop loss that you guys are seeing. But looking back, maybe my entry could have been here. Just a thought. Because when I do zoom in, it does feel like I spent some important ticks which I could have saved otherwise, and that is what it was. At the time, I was basically checking the other stock and just checking out what happened. Now we will fast forward this to the point. Nothing a whole lot interesting happened in this. This was a dumping stock. The volume was negative at the time. Basically, the seller were heavy. Although the one thing that I should have focused on was the point that even though the volume was negative, it was going up at the time, and that is the difference between that and this stock. In the Exide Industries stock, you can see very clearly volume is going down as well. That means this is seller heavy. Obviously, it's negative, but it was also decreased, and volume was decreasing, and this was almost at the perfect place. So yeah, it was showing a bit of greens when you go on a 1 minute chart, but at least on the 5 minute chart, it was right at VWAP. The spreads were okay, at least based on what I was going to trade it with. So I thought, yeah, this is exactly what I look for in the stock. It's at VWAP, it's a dumping stock, it's a seller heavy stock, the volume is negative. Everything was telling me to short it, the second stock. And so once it showed the potential, then I shorted it. I went in with position of 27, and again, based on my app, I set the stop loss. I think it was around this position. I'm not really sure, we'll have to see, but yeah, and this turned out to be a great trade. So you can see, although the volume is increasing, it is much lesser than the peak volume at the time, and it's negative. Everything was, it was what I would call my most A plus setup I have ever seen, because really, I have not seen these kind of situations coming together in a stock in front of me at 9:30. it just haven't happened before. And yeah, as you can see, I set the stop loss at 317, and then from that point it was just looking at the trade. And this is, we are back on trade number one. So yeah, I keep on switching between two. I think at some point I will just combine them as well. So the left one basically is my first trade, which is Petronet, and the second one is my Exide Industries one, the good one, the one that we will follow along. The first one was not really going anywhere. As you can see, it was coming back up. The volume already has gone positive and it was going up. So yeah, the moment it basically touched the VWAP, that is when my focus went back to it, and I just saw the conditions and I knew that yeah, this one, it's not gonna pan out. Maybe one of the two things I may have done, maybe if I had entered around here and I had just covered early when I saw the conditions reverting, that could have been one of the things. But mostly, as you can see, I got basically nicked out there. Then I was simply not interested in that trade. After that, I was interested in this trade because this was still basically panning out exactly how I have hoped. Volume very low in the negatives and decreasing, and the stock also showed the movement almost immediately in that direction. You can see the stock is coming down, and this was just the beginning. I mean, if I just fast forward it a little bit, so every time I move, I'm moving it forward by 30 seconds, and just have a look. Now, even though it came back up and you can see the volume was increasing, it had gone positive as well. Even though that happened, the gap itself had grown too much by that point that I felt safe enough to just remain in the trade. This is another one of the things I'm trying to do in my winning trades. I'm trying to hold on more and more. 31 ticks. Basically, if it was my earlier self, by now I would have already packed up and left. A lot longer before it went to 31 or 32, I would have just left at I don't know, 20s. By the moment it get to 20, I will just take the profit and leave. But I'm trying to hold it together, and today it really paid off, 40 ticks and counting. And at that point you can see the volume went back negative, although the net volume was increased and we were seeing corresponding movement. I mean, there were some green candles from time to time, but mostly it was either retraction or just pure red candles. So yeah, I had trust in the stock as well that this would in fact pan out. Moving forward again. Oh, too fast, too fast. Then I basically, sorry, let me just take it back. Yeah, so at 50 ticks, that is basically when I brought my stop loss to break even. And when I say break even, I mean break even after brokerage. So you can see if you look very closely at these two values, so you can see there is a 5 ticks difference in between them. So it's set at 310. The stop loss is at 310. My shorting position is at 315.35, and this is at 315.10. So I leave that much when I move to break even. Mostly the reason being I don't want to be red after brokerage, especially on move like this. And after 68 ticks, that's when I basically panicked and I started moving my stop loss. And at the time I was happy because I knew that I'm at least bagging 70 ticks, 71 ticks, and that number was just increasing. And although you can see this is still negative, volume is still very low, it's still very seller heavy, no reason to sell. The only reason was that the volume was extending too much in my direction. The moment it went back, I was almost expecting a very deep pullback. Even if it wasn't deep pullback, it would go at least like half a candle. Usually that is what happens, you know. You see this kind of movement, almost immediately there is a pullback. If you're lucky, then slowly and slowly it will come back again and there would be another breakdown, but usually that doesn't happen. You don't really get usually that lucky, and as you can see, I'm already out. So this was my second trade. I got in here at around 315 and I got out here around 311. It was a really good trade and I bagged 70 ticks on it. Now let's jump in the future. These were my actual trades. We have gone through this, but now that trade is over, the day is over. Let's just see what would have happened if we had just hold on. Let's see if the stocks ever moved in a different direction from what it looked before. So this is Petronet. For references, I will just mark what action we have seen earlier. So in Petronet, I think I entered around this position, basically my first trade, and I exited around this point in the green candle. So I guess I'm more or less happy with Petronet because Petronet just keeps on moving up, and frankly it was a uptrending day, so I'm not really that down on losing like acceptable red in on Petronet. I mean, there is just no way around it. What did hurt is, let's move to Xide. So for reference, this was my trading. In trading, the moment my action ends, basically when my trade ends, I just shut the system for the rest of the day. I do not wanna move around with the guilt that it could have been better, would have been better. So usually I just shut down my laptop and I just move away. But right now when I'm looking at while creating this video, that is late in the night when all the action is done. So this is my Xide straw, and just take a look at what has happened. Again, for reference, I will mark my entries and exit. This was my entry at around 315. Yeah, 315, and this around this point was my exit. So this was around 311, I think. Yeah, around 311. So entry, exit, and just look at the movement. Now don't get me wrong, I still think I did right. Okay, I still do not regret exiting the trade. I still am very proud of the execution that I had because it was made on my past experiences, and my past experiences usually do not see very often a stock going down almost 7 rupees in my direction after I have entered it. So this was a new for me, but now when I see it, I mean there were signs, right? So basically my exit was here, right? And there were signs. I mean the volume itself had not really picked back up. Maybe I could have held on longer, and maybe I will try in my upcoming trades. Maybe I will try to hold on longer, and maybe it will work out, and we will see that. But for today, this was it, and this was the trade recap. I will see you again tomorrow with another trade recap, hopefully for a green day. But till then, you can see the other videos that we have. If you want to see the actual movement, the live trades, you can see in my playlist for live trading. And if you want to just see the clips of the shorts, just the shorts, nothing else, no fluff, you can check out here in my when I short playlist. And for other trade recaps, you can check out my trade recap playlist. That's all for today. That's all, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.